Oh, that's it.
Says we're live, but I guess we'll give it a minute and see if it's going to go live.
Yep, we're live.
There's
Are we
20
live?
people watching.
Sweet. Yep. All right, we're up.
All right.
How are you gentlemen doing?
Peachy.
Not too bad. How about you?
Sweet. I'm living the dream as long as you don't wake me up. All right, we're up. Well, first, we would like to say thank you for everyone joining us on this beautiful Wednesday evening. Hopefully, it's beautiful in your area. And hello, Gun Nation. We appreciate it. And we will wait, see if some more jump in here. Guess we've got 15 or 17, so some more are jumping in. But anything fun and exciting recently that's popped up in y'all's neck of the woods or anything that you've seen?
Caracol's coming out in 4 weeks. That's what I was told.
Okay.
That's about it.
That's pretty cool. And then we've got the Archon B is starting to ship. In fact, some people have already got it. In fact, it's Jasper Quaid, used to be My Life Choices. He's got one, that lucky bastard. So that's pretty cool. He's already been showing pictures on Instagram. That, actually looks like a pretty good gun. And Pistol Pete had mentioned a little bit earlier in the chat before we got started when we were talking about this. I think it was Pistol Pete that there were some light primer strikes, and this was on Military Arms Channel's video, and that's true. In the very beginning, he did, but that worked itself out a little bit, and I think with a lot of guns, you got to work some things in, but I'm pretty optimistic about that. But it'll be interesting to see how it does.
Yeah. Now I can't remember. Did Mac just take it right out of the box and shoot it, or did he clean it?
He oiled it with the oil that it came with.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I didn't know if he cleaned it or oiled it or what he did, but I
mean, I'll wait to see what is the long term on that gun before. They're $800 handguns, so I'd let others, see what that's all about. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I've been looking at that Alien gun, man. That thing's pretty sweet.
Told you. Yeah. Now I haven't seen a price on that thing. Have you seen any pricing?
I think it's $15,000.
Yeah, so I'll take 10.
I'll take 10. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea.
No, ever since I've seen that gun, I'm just like, damn, that's cool. But I saw the video of the guy shooting it, and Humble knows him, and I think he asked him, like, is it shoot like a CZ or something? And he said it was kind of comparable, but the trigger was a little different. So I don't know if that's a positive or negative, but I think when they're out in the wild, we'll see a lot more of it. And, kind of like this Archon, I remember seeing it at the NRA, and I was kind of excited about the grip and the trigger and the sights and all that other stuff, but they just took so damn long. And like you said, I think we just need to see the longevity in it. Hell, it could be a really, really good gun. I don't know the track record on it. I don't think any of us do yet.
And my biggest worry on that handgun is just the overall customer service. If something goes wrong with it, who knows? I mean, obviously it's sold a lot already. A lot of units have been moved. So, give it a few months, see if those prices come down. And, if it becomes more of a reasonable price and it starts to get more and more of a positive outlook, it would be one to consider for sure. But I've been more excited about that damn Caracol than any other gun right now. And so I went ahead and contacted them. And for anybody out there in law enforcement or fire and EMS, you guys can actually get them at reduced prices, which is pretty sweet. Just have to send them your ID. So I got my name on a list for a fairly cheap, brand new Caracol.
Yeah, I think that any gun manufacturer that offers law enforcement, first responders and stuff like that a discount, I think that's definitely a positive. I know a lot of gear companies do as well, but I think that's definitely a must, and great support there.
Dennis Jones is saying that quick sight version is just a bit ugly. The one I actually I don't know if I ordered it or what, but the one I actually requested was the regular sights, night sights.
Yeah, I tried those quick sights and just picking it up at the NRA show, and I was kind of looking at it and I was like, and they might be fine. I haven't shot with them, so I have no experience with it, but it was definitely different, just looking through them. And they had both versions there, and I was like, I would prefer the regular sights, but that's again what I'm used to, so I don't know.
My concern would have just been, holster availability over time,
Yeah, Yeah. And I think that also, and I know even on the quick sight, they had a night sight on it or a non-night sight for the front. So I don't really think that's going to come into play, but it's just weird having a little sight radius on a large pistol, but it's probably just something I'm not used to. Logan's asking if some sort of tragedy happened in FB County, Texas recently. I don't know what FB County is. If he's talking about Farmers Branch, I don't know.
I mean, that's an F and a B, so maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, that's not a county, but still, it might just be, he might be talking about Farmers Branch, and there's crap that happens all the time. So, let's see here. All right. Let's see here. Do y'all want to go ahead and kick off the questions, or do y'all have anything to talk about that we need to discuss right off the bat?
No, I think I actually have 3 guns coming because they finally, the honorable judge finally, did her job. So
wow.
Those 3 are on the way. I thought they'd be in today in my mailbox, but watch, they probably got lost in the mail. So it'll be like another year.
Probably.
Yeah. I just got 3 guns too, and I've only put 2 of them on Instagram so far. But man, it's definitely a disease, but we know that.
So Stephen is asking what firearm is in my hand. So this is all I'm going to show. So if you can guess what it is, I'll give you a smile.
I know what it is.
The P10.
Damn it.
It's too easy, man. Come on.
Boy, that's actually pretty good to be able to tell just like this.
I'm like Rain Man, the Rain Man of guns.
Yeah, well, I knew what it was too.
Cheesy Puffs.
Yeah.
P10.
There you go. P10. I'll tell you what, I haven't been giving this thing any love lately. It's time to get out and shoot it because I still love this gun. I absolutely love it.
Matthew Jackson, what 3 guns do you have coming, BJ? I already have them. I've got, I'll just show. One of them is the American Resistance PCC, and this thing is freaking sweet. I'm really liking it. I've got to do trigger and some other stuff. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen 2 of them, that one, and also I got the Lancer L30 heavy metal, which is a 308, and that thing's a beast, and I'm super stoked about that. And then I got another 308, a Weatherby 308. So, but I'm a big 308 fan, and we've talked about this before. Everybody's like, oh, 6.5 and all that. I'm old school. I like the thumpers. NATO, I'm just kind of an older guy, and that's what I enjoy. And I've shot 6.5s, and I think they're great. If stuff were to hit the fan, I know I can always find a 308. So that's kind of where I go. Okay, you ready for the first question, guys?
Go, shoot, let's do it.
Okay. Now, we've kind of talked about this a little bit before, so we don't have to dwell on this question. But what gun or rifle do you ever regret selling?
KS, do you want to go first?
Regrets a lot of them. I mean, obviously, and now certainly did with many before the channel started, but of course, as the channel has started, I've had the pleasure of experiencing a lot of great guns, and I've had the sadness of watching them leave at a slightly discounted price, unfortunately. But there some have been better than others. I would say probably one that impressed me more than most might have been the Springfield EMP. That was a phenomenal gun. I had a great time with it. It was too expensive. I think they're a little bit overpriced, but I think they're well made. They're fun to shoot. They're a great size depending on the size of your hand, and I really enjoyed those. So that was definitely a hard one to give up. And then there have been a couple of Colts, including the Marine close quarters combat Colt 45. It's the whatever M19 or something, whatever that is. I did have one of those in all tan early on when they came out, and that thing was a hoss. But that was a lot of money to be invested in one firearm, especially years and years ago. So I don't have that one anymore. So
okay. And I think I shot that. Was that the EMP that I shot?
I don't think you shot an EMP.
Was that the orange and black grips or the green and black?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Good memory. Yeah.
Hey, man, I don't forget my guns.
Yeah.
I remember shooting that pistol. The first time I came down, I shot that pistol, and I really liked it. It was a nice pistol.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice.
But like you said, it was a little small for my hands, but I could still shoot it fine. So.
Yeah, well, the carry contour solved that a little bit. That carry contour is pretty freaking sweet too.
Yeah. All right. What about you, 17?
My Walther CCP. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely not the CCP. Actually, it's another Walther. It's the Walther P99.
Oh.
That gun was just really, really just a damn good gun. It was kind of like the early rendition of what the PPQ would eventually become. Obviously, had double action, single action, had the anti-stress trigger. It was just a great trigger overall on that handgun. And I wound up selling that, gosh, probably like 2 years ago. And now forget about it. You can't find them anywhere unless they're in 40s or in the subcompacts. But that's really the only gun. I mean, I regret selling my P01, but I actually got that again. And I don't regret selling any of the P10s, but I definitely, that gun still calls my name. It's like a friggin' siren, I'm probably I already got one. So let's just put it that way. I got another one. So,
another what?
Another P10.
Oh, okay. I figured you were going to.
Yeah, I really, like I said, I like the gun. I just didn't have luck with it. So I hope this one actually works. I happened to pop into my local gun shop and they were having I think it was Labor Day sale, and the gun was $369.
Wow.
In FDE with night sights. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. You can't beat that. That's a great deal.
When are you going to get another VP9?
Never. That gun is, it's funny.
You've already had 3 of them, so we're just wondering.
Yeah. I was actually looking at the subcompacts today. I've been getting the double stack subcompact bug lately. So I was just like, I am not touching that gun.
I'll tell you, that SK is a phenomenal gun. And as far as subcompacts, I mean, there are a couple that are really good, but the SK is a standout. Whether it's the VP9 or even the P30, they are good guns. You know
what gun I actually liked out of all of them that I was handling today, and this is going to sound crazy, I actually like that Ruger American subcompact.
Yeah,
it's just that gun is very ergonomic. The trigger is really good on it. I think you'd have to put some, Talon grips on there or something, or even sandpaper pistol grips, because the grips are just a little bit too slick. But I thought the gun was actually really pretty decent.
Yeah, and we've had a couple of questions, or a couple of comments. A couple of people like Mean Gene has said, "I only buy guns. He never sells them." And I can understand that. I mean, I'm a collector also, but sometimes you just completely fall out of love with a gun. It's not that, and I have not safe queens, but I mean, I have guns that I just don't ever shoot. They just sit there. So, I mean, I look at it this way. Sometimes if I know that I'm never, ever, ever going to shoot the gun again, it's not like I'm a lack of guns, and these guys probably aren't either. So, I kind of look at it as, man, I'm never going to touch it again. Let somebody else enjoy it, and then get something that you really like. So, but my guns, and there's a total of 3, but 2 of them are the same. I regret getting rid of 2 Russian SKSs, and they were in phenomenal shape. And that was back when you could buy them really inexpensive. And, I had them, and then I got an offer, and it was like I never shot them. They just sat around, and so I got rid of them, and I wish I had them again. And then it's not like I totally freaked out about it, but I wish I would have kept one 1911, and that was my Les Bear Custom. It was a really, really nice pistol. I loved it. And, but, a guy really, really wanted it. And so I sold him 2 of them, but there are 2 different 1911s, but I kind of wish I had that one back because it was just so freaking nice. But, then again, my FNX holds 16 rounds, so you can't really beat that for a 45. But those are my regrets.
Hey, Rabbi just made a nice donation to the channel, to the chat, and asked a question. Please, trade-ins, trash or treasure?
Treasure.
Yeah.
Got to check it out quick, though. You open it up, look inside. Most of those guns aren't even shot half the time. Sometimes they just sit in holsters, or they sit at home. And I mean, the amount of training law enforcement gets is not very much for most law enforcement officers. You know, if you're like in a specialized team or something of that sort, you're going to do a lot more training. I mean, I work with a cop right now, and he's carrying around a Smith & Wesson, like a 5906 or a 5960,
Wow.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
That gun looks brand new. So I asked him, how many times a year does he actually shoot it? And he said to me, what are you talking about?
Wow.
So I was like,
you know
that's not very good.
That's a nice pistol. I like
Yeah,
those.
it's beautiful, stainless. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous. You know,
It even had that in the tactical version too, if I believe right. And
the only thing that's you know, kind of looking pretty cheesy is the grips, but that's because of all the belt rubbing and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, hitting the seat belt buckle and all that other crap. But other than that, the gun looks brand new.
Yeah, hell, that's an easy fix.
Mm-hmm.
But
I would kind of be on the fence on that. There definitely can be treasures, but all of them are definitely not. I've seen some police trade-ins, and a lot of times it's the Glock 22s and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They'll be a great price. They'll have some night sights with a few years left in them,
Yeah.
but a lot of times they have the snot beat out of them. And so you can definitely find some deals, but I've seen some that are in just awful shape. I've been trying to find a Smith & Wesson 915 again. That was that first gun I ever bought myself. And I see them pretty frequently there, but they're a lot of times trade-ins, and those things just look awful. Not so much, but could be a treasure.
yeah, the old Smiths, if you can find them, and you know, like 17 said, you know, even if you find one of those, you know, definitely pull it apart. I mean, and if they won't let you do it, let them do it or have them do it. And if they refuse to, don't buy the damn thing. Just, you know, because I tell you what, man, I've actually pulled them apart with broken guide rods. Literally the spring just broke off and it was a captive. It didn't even have an end on it.
Yeah.
It snapped off. So, I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff, and the barrels just chewed apart and rusted on the inside. You know, you can take them out and hold them up to the light and they're just pitted and chewed up. So definitely inspect the firearm before you buy it.
Knuckles brings a good point up. Most of them are in 40, and he's right. A lot of them you're going to find in 40 cal.
Yeah, but you can
buy
9mm barrels for freaking. I've seen them for 80 something bucks, especially for Glocks. You know, they might not be your performance barrel, but you know, hell, you can get those things up and running pretty quick.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned the PX4s. You see those a ton.
Oh yeah,
and they, you know, like again, the grips are a little bit beat up, but you know, throw some. You know, sandpaper pistol grips, Talon grips, anything, you know, and even if the slide is beat up, you know, have somebody go in and sand it and, you know, just Cerakote it. And then you have a pretty much brand new gun.
Yeah. Depending on how much you want to invest in it and the price you can buy it for, man, you know, even used guns, not necessarily police trade-ins, but used guns, you know, there's some people that want a fortune for a used gun, or gun stores that do, but if you can find the right price, grab it and run. I mean, I've bought a bunch of guns, you know, that way, and people just didn't realize what they really were. And man, I'm just like, oh yes, I'll pay that. Thank you. Bye. You know, here's my CHL and I'm out the door. All right. Well, that's good. Now here's another question. And this is one that's kind of affecting all of us and probably a ton of our subscribers. Okay. And you can answer it a couple of different ways, if, you know, even the subscribers, if they're not married. But what does your wife or family members think of your gun habit?
Who wants to go first?
Well,
You tell
me. One of you two guys.
I'll let you have the honors, KS.
Well, sure. I'll take the floor this time. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that. And thank you, Scotsman. My family doesn't care. About 95% of them think it's great. And some of them are into guns, hunting more than anything else. So they're not major collectors, although I have one uncle that has some pretty cool World War II, World War I collectibles. So that's pretty fun. But most of them don't care. They think it's kind of cool what I do, and they're all aware of what I do. So they're pretty supportive. And those who maybe aren't, don't really say very much, which I appreciate. And I don't flaunt it either. I don't talk a lot about it unless somebody asks me. So it's kind of a mutual respect sort of thing. But yeah, my family doesn't care. They really don't.
Okay. But you 17.
The biggest question I get from my wife is, why do I need so many? And I ask her, why do you need so many shoes or purses or belts or, you know, lipsticks and all that other crap? But for the most part, I don't really talk to people about it, in regards to having a lot of guns, because, I live in the liberal cesspool where people who own guns are looked upon as crazies, loons, you name it. Honestly, I know maybe a handful of people in my local area who are big into the gun world. And honestly, we all keep quiet because it's just not popular culture up here, I guess you could say. At the same time, though, I explained to my wife, I said, look, I don't really have many hobbies other than this. I don't go out Sunday nights to the bars and watch football games and all that other stuff. I mean, I don't do that. So whatever free time I have, I'm either shooting or, playing and hanging with the family. So for me, it's what I like, and it's better than some of the other vices that people have,
Yeah. Yeah. My wife knew that I had a problem when she met me, or an addiction, you might say. And yeah, I don't go to 3-step meetings and all that other stuff because I'm not an alcoholic or a drug addict. But, I think that we all have our vices as far as guns, but she knew that going in, she's cool with it. And like you said, of course, purses and shoes and all that stuff come into play. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Now, as far as family, and I'll be very honest with you, a lot of my family don't know what I have, and I don't want them to know what I have until the time is needed. If we had an SHTF, then I got them covered. But other than that, and work people and stuff, I just kind of keep it to myself, and I just do me. I just leave it alone. So, and any questions? We've flown by, and it looks like there's a lot of same people. Wives, don't mind, and music corrected me. It could be a wife, a husband, another, whomever. I mean, just your, friend, whatever you want to say.
So I'm gonna kind of build off that a little bit. Does anybody, whether it be on the panel or out in the audience, have anyone, a family member or close friend, that is adamantly against it, to where leads to maybe some stern conversations or debates, or perhaps even more? Anybody have that experience?
I definitely do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I got a brother right now who lives in Australia, and he's anti-gun, as you can get. And his thing with me is, why do I need them? And I have to sit there and go through an entire list of reasons why. For me, it's several reasons. Obviously, we can probably all agree to what those reasons might be for most of us. And it's just, it's always battling, and I told him, I said, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. If you choose to live in a country that's anti-gun, good for you. If you choose to move back here and you choose to be anti-gun, good for you. But in no way, shape, or form is he going to change my mind. And I know I'm certainly not going to change his mind. So, that's the way you got to look at it. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. And it gets very interesting around the family. And a lot of them know that I shoot and that I talk guns. And I have some that actually ask my advice on guns, which I enjoy giving it and trying to help them. We just had this recently at a big family event, and I would say probably 25% were on my side and the rest of them were on the other side. So it got a little heated. We've got some stern family members, and I've got some, I guess you want to say, liberal attorneys in the family. And yeah, it's crazy. And, they're like, well, we've got the police and we've got this. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And two of them are married. I mean, they're husband and wife. And I'm like, okay, so you don't carry, she doesn't carry. What happens if you're out somewhere and you're attacked or whatever? And they're like, oh, well, the police are there. I'm like, where? In a parking lot, in a dark alley? They're not there. They're going to come fill out the report after the incident's already done. So, and what's funny is he's kind of coming around. But, I'm just like, I've carried forever and I've never, had to shoot anyone. So that's great. You carry your phone, but you might not have to call anybody, or your keys or wallet or whatever. It's just another item that you're carrying that hopefully you will never have to use. But if you do, you got it.
Yeah, I've got a couple of friends who are sort of on the fence, and then I've got one friend who definitely is not for it. And he and I thankfully are able to have um, uh, rational conversations about our differences, whatever they happen to be. So there's no like we don't ever talk to each other anymore. In fact, it's not the case at all. Because I've learned a lot from him. I think he's learned a lot from me. Excuse me. And so it tends to lead to some very interesting conversations. And I actually I appreciate that about him because I hear from a rational person who has thought it through. It's not he doesn't draw a line in the sand, and I don't either. So that's probably how we can have good conversations. But there are some things that he brings up from the viewpoint of somebody who's not into guns that I maybe have not thought of, or at least it's presented in such a way that it's palatable, and we can talk about it, and we can talk about where I differ in that opinion and where he differs, and it can be kind of an interesting conversation. At the end of the day, he's not going to go out and buy a gun. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to go out and sell a gun. So we kind of part ways and shake hands, and it's all fine. But I kind of value that. And I value that because he doesn't take that hardline approach, and that's the key to be able to have a fascinating conversation, even with somebody who differs in your opinion, as long as they are willing to allow you to have an opinion, and you willing to allow them to have an opinion, and have a good, educated conversation about it. I think that's at least good, and there eventually could be some ground that's won because of that. I think he's got a better attitude towards guns because he knows me and he knows what I do. He loves talking about the channel. He's fascinated in this stuff. He likes hearing some of my experiences with that. So that's good, and that's a good inroad. And so I'm able to at least educate him on why I believe what I believe. And so, again, it can be some really fascinating conversations. So I've certainly met a lot of people that are hardcore anti, and I just as soon cut that conversation off fast because I know it's going to go downhill. There's no winning, and it's not a fun conversation. There's no reason to have it. It is what it is. But I enjoy the people that at least want to know and allow you to have your say, and vice versa.
Yeah, well, the one that I was talking about, that is an attorney, she was on the debating team also. So, and she reiterates that like 9 million times. And, she'll start saying the reasons why and the reasons why not, or basically reasons why you don't need them. And I'm like, okay, you're an attorney. Are you familiar with, the Bill of Rights? Are you familiar with the Second Amendment? So you just need to shut up, and it's gotten pretty crazy because they're never wrong. And that's when I'm just like, okay, you have your opinion. I have my opinion. You don't want them. That's cool. I want them, but don't call me if stuff goes bad, because, they're like, well, if we ever need that situation, I'm like, whoa, no, you're not, you can't just have your cake and eat it too. So, but anyway, all right. So, and looks like we've had some good, conversations, or people have been giving their opinions too, and we definitely appreciate them. And you're right, education is really key, but sometimes, and I always say this is a saying I've said forever, you can't have a meeting of the minds with an unarmed man, because some people will not, there's just an opinion or some truth they don't believe, and they just won't hear it. So just leave it at that. Okay, now here's a good question for all of us and for the subscribers, because this is one I kind of thought about, and I've been thinking about it because I notice when I go, I watch, and I know what I carry. But here's the question: what do you guys take to the range or competition? And basically, is it overkill? I mean, are you a minimalistic person, or are you a freaking pack mule? So I want to hear these answers.
17.
So how much, like
what do you take to the range? When you go to the range, are you the guy that just carries like one bag and a rifle or a pistol and some ammo, or are you like carrying, all kinds of crap? Do you have a wagon you're pulling in a wagon?
I actually take a box with me, condition one box, and it has room for 6 pistols. So no, it depends what I'm trying to achieve that day. For me, I want to shoot everything I own, and that's a problem. So,
yeah.
I can't afford to do that all the time. But what I try to do is I try to, if I haven't shot a gun in a while, or if I'm going to start carrying it in rotation more, I'm going to take it out and just, try to get a little bit more proficient with it. If it's hammer fired handguns, that's probably one of the biggest problems I have is I usually will take a hammer fired with a striker fired. And it just goes from really good to being ugly because, you're getting the striker fire, the ease of that from double single action. But, I take whatever, I take whatever I want to shoot that day. So it could be 2, it could be 6, it could be more. I don't really care. I mean, if I'm going to go shooting, I'm going to go shooting.
Okay. What about you, KS?
Well, I've got my one big backpack. It holds 4 pistols, a lot of magazines, ammo, all the gear, all the stuff I need. So that will serve me if I go to the range. The only problem is cameras, and I take multiple cameras with me. So I've got an extra case that goes with me that just has the cameras in it. I can't put those with the guns, and nor would I want to. So I've become a little bit of a pack mule. People at Centerfire know if I'm filming, if I've got that little extra case with me. But that backpack is fantastic. It's probably bigger than what I need if I was just going to the range and shooting a couple of guns. But again, I can throw everything in it. So I'm just kind of used to that.
Yep. And I've got the same backpack. I've got a couple of things, but we've had some really great. We've had people say that they take a semi truckload with them. Some are minimalistic, some are pack mules. So this is interesting because this is kind of what I want to see. Because when I go in, I'll see the guy that carries the one little pistol bag and like 1 box of ammo or 2 boxes of ammo, and he goes in and shoots. And that's good because he's shooting the one gun. Maybe that's his carry gun. Maybe he's just has one gun, or maybe he's just working with one gun. So I've seen it both ways. And then, I've been the guy that actually carried a 2-wheeler in there with baskets and shit in it, and, guns and guns and guns. That was the old me when I was trying to go in and shoot multiple videos on multiple guns, and have those for everyone to see. And, like when I go to a competition, it's the wagon and I've got the cooler and I've got the backpack and, but even in that backpack you were talking about that's hard to fill up, I've got cleaning gear, I've got bore brushes, I've got all kinds of stuff in there, probably maybe some of it that's not needed. And I've got tools because I've had stuff come loose and Loctite and stuff, to where you can put stuff back together. But, I've been both stages. The pack, not really a minimalistic, but I've been the pack mule and I guess the semi-pack mule. And you're right, carrying cameras and, all that gear with you. It's just a lot of stuff to carry and to take around with you. And then since I travel out of states and stuff like that, I want to be well prepared. And if I go to a range, I still have what I need, but I don't carry as many guns to the range at one time any longer. It might be 2 or 3, but I'm trying to kind of simplify it or just to work on 1 or 2 guns only. Because when you start going through the whole gamut, when you start going through 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 guns, you can't get a feel, especially if you're dealing with striker fire and double action in the same day. Sometimes you're all over the map, especially with your grip, or not necessarily your grip, but with your accuracy, it could suffer too. So sometimes less is best, sometimes. Okay.
I often get jealous of the person that comes in with the one little bag, or they come in empty-handed and they rent. So they get the one little case, a box of ammo, and a gun, and then they can come in and they can switch it out for another one in the same caliber. Yeah. There are times where I'm sitting back going, "Damn it! I wish it was me right now." And then I could walk out the door, nothing, on my shoulder, and packing all this stuff. And everything.
Well, hell, it's like when I went to Kansas and with you, we went to Centerfire and we had a whole freaking table that was just ours, and it was a huge steel table, and it was just ours, and we had crap piled all over that thing. People were coming up like, "What the hell are y'all doing?" Looked like a freaking militia party. But we were just, you were shooting my guns, I was shooting some of your guns, and we were just having a good time. But it can be a pain in the ass, and especially keeping up if you've got multiple areas that you're dealing with, or even 2 stalls. I've shot from 2 stalls before, and it's hard to keep up with everything sometimes. You want to walk out and forget crap, and they're like, "Hey, you forgot that." I've never left a gun, but I've left, Maglulas and stuff like that before. And then I realize I've never physically gone home without it, but it's a lot of crap to keep up with.
It is. And before you move to the next question, Tundra was pointing out Music Lover's statement about how much she shoots. And so she generally shoots about a box each time she goes, which is great. and he was interested to see how many people, how much people shoot here. So when you go to the range, how much do you shoot and how often do you go to the range? I mean, that's, I know we've touched on that before, but it's been a while.
Yeah, I go to the range quite a bit. I mean, and even, but I shoot this. These are I save these things because they're actually really good. But these little cashew containers, and this one, it's not full all the way, but it holds. These things hold 440 rounds, and I've gone through one of these plus in a range session. During competition, I'll usually go through, I don't know, 3/4 of one, and I mean, that's a lot of freaking. But those are easier to stack than a bunch of damn ammo cans. What about you guys?
17.
How much ammo do I bring?
Or like, what do you go through during a normal range session?
It just depends on what I'm bringing with me. I try to at least bring 500 rounds with me to the range. And that's the minimum for the day. And then if it's 2 guns, then obviously depending on which gun I want to shoot more, it could be a 300, 200 split, 250. But minimum wise, it's always 500 rounds. So right now I've got about 1,000 rounds just sitting in the safe. And I'm just going to keep on plugging away, buying them more and more every week, because I'm just going to go out one day for a couple of hours. A friend of mine actually gave me permission to shoot outside by his house. So that's kind of exciting for me because everything's indoors here.
And how often?
How often do I shoot?
Yeah.
It depends. It's depending on everything, if I have time from work, from family responsibilities, then I'll try to at least minimum every month, twice a month, sometimes 3 to 4 times a month. It just depends.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
For me, I mean, I shoot every week, usually, a weeknight if I can, cause I'm usually pretty hyped up after work, usually mad. And so it's a great time to shoot for me for whatever reason. I really want to get some aggression out, but, so once a week, occasionally twice, but usually, and I film basically every weekend. I try and get a minimum of 200 rounds per gun. And if it's just one gun, especially if it's a first time, it's 250 to 300 rounds. So I probably average 300 rounds a week. I'd say that's a good average. There are some months where I shoot more, and there are some months where I shoot a little bit less. So, but that's good. I feel good about shooting every week. Now, if I was smart, I'd shoot fewer guns and I'd shoot more through my carry guns. But having a channel, that's not. It's either one or the other. It can't be both because I don't have the budget for that. Plus, I think my hands would fall apart with some of the complications I have. So I have to be a little bit thoughtful about that. So with like my Shield or the M&P or even the Taurus now that's become part of the carry lineup, once a month I usually try and run a box through each at least if I can, just to make sure that I remember how to shoot them and how they feel and all that kind of stuff. But that's pretty much it.
Well, and that's the thing, that kind of. I'll throw this into another question, and this is, because I've been asked this a lot, and maybe y'all have too, and I know y'all's answer because we talk, and y'all know my answer, but, I know people that for a carry gun, they only have one main carry gun and the rest are kind of target guns, and it could turn into a carry gun. But do y'all have a carry rotation? Do you have 7 or 8 guns that those are your carry guns and you just rotate through them? Or do you have 1 or 2 only dedicated carry guns? How do y'all look at it like that?
Okay, let's go.
Sorry, I was answering a question real quick, but carry rotation, for quite a while, it was the Shield and the 2.0C. It wasn't because I was specifically planning on it being Smith & Wesson. There was no plan to that. It just kind of came to that because I really like them both. I trust them both. I shoot them both well enough for me. I can put rounds on target. And without a lot of thought. And that's the important thing. There are some guns when I pick up, I have to kind of rethink or kind of train myself, reacquire a little bit. But again, the Taurus is in the lineup now as well. So most of my guns, and this is where we kind of differ a little bit. Most of my guns are not carry guns. They are specifically channel or enjoy or collection. They're fun. They're just fun, because the whole reason I shoot, aside from the opportunity to defend my life if I need to, is for fun. And if it wasn't for that, it would be a whole different mindset. So most of my stuff is just to have a good time with,
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
For me right now, I've been going back and forth between the Glock 19 and the Smith & Wesson 2.0 compact. If I'm going to start carrying, like, let's say one of the CZs with the hammers, I'll actually take those purposely out to the range, spend some time with them again, getting a feel for the trigger. And then I'll put those back into the rotation. The only gun that I don't carry at all is the P01 Omega. Everything else I own, I carry. It's just a matter of when. Sometimes they may have one on and I'll have another one in my Jeep. Sometimes I'll carry two. I mean, is that crazy? I don't know. But it just depends. Depends when I'm in the mood. Right now it's striker fired world. So that's what I've been carrying a lot. So just going back between the Glock and the Smith, and just sticking with those for now.
Okay. Probably through my hardcore dedicated rotation, I've probably got about 6, maybe 7 that I really just like to try. I mean, like I carried the FNS 9 yesterday all day, and today I carried the 19X. But I do carry a lot of double action, single action. I mean, I'm very familiar with those guns, and I think that's the key. You definitely want to be familiar with it. It wants to fire or be able to fire your particular whatever ammo you're carrying, your defensive ammo, you want it to work. And so on one of the safes, I've got the little pockets in the door, and I've got 6 of them there, and those are the ones I usually choose from. Every once in a while, I'll veer out of the norm, but those are pretty much them. And then sometimes when I go out of town, I might have 2. So I might even rotate those 2, depending on where I'm going, where I'm going to be doing, kind of. And I know you can't plan for a bad thing, but it could be a full size versus a compact for that particular day and the backup mag. So that's kind of the way I do it. Let's see here.
Hey, a lot of people, real quickly, while you're searching, a lot of people are talking about the Rammy right now. Been asked about thoughts on the Rammy. What do you guys think?
Go ahead,
it's the one metal framed small CZ that they make. It's really the only one, if you think about it. But I just think it's too small. CZ is notorious for those low slides, but I think for that, I don't know. I've held them, haven't shot them. It's just a little too small. Maybe if they ever make a P10 subcompact, that would probably be a huge seller. But I just think it's a little bit too small for what you can get elsewhere.
Yeah, and I will agree with that. On the Rammy with the regular mag, the small mag that it comes with, I can only get 2 fingers literally on the grip, just 2 fingers, and then I'm pulling it, so it's awkward. But it does come with the extended mag, and it's better. I mean, I can get a full purchase on it, or pretty much a full purchase, but it is a tiny gun. And I've seen a lot of people shoot it, and they're not super accurate with it. Now I know it has a pretty heavy double action, or it seems to be. So it'd probably just be having the gun, getting used to it, and being familiar with it. There's no knock against the gun. It's just not for me personally. But anyone that has it, and they shoot it, well, hey, carry the sucker.
Yeah. Every time I've picked one up, I've wanted it. I've wanted to like it because that size of gun doesn't really bother me, although I'm slowly gravitating away from the kind of Glock 26 size. I want a little bit more grip, like that G2C. There's just more to grab onto, or the VP9 SK. But the Rammy, every time I pick it up, it's a little blocky. And you're right, especially with that small magazine or the flat magazine, they're in a lot to grab onto, but it's blocky, so it's just an odd feeling to me. Now, if I shot it, maybe I'd like it. I don't know, but I have not shot it, but just the feel of it does not. I immediately get uninspired, and I haven't put it away every time I pick one up.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem I had with that handgun was just trying to rack the slide. I just, the thing was, it was so hard to rack back that I was just like, forget it. You know, I just couldn't get a grip on it. And I was just like, it's just too small for my hands.
Yeah. And, you know, plus, I don't know if you've actually checked on it. You know, I was actually going to buy one, and the mags for it, you know, it's kind of its own animal for a mag. And the mags are like $54. I mean, they're not super cheap now, you know, but I like to get a lot of mags for each gun, but, you know, they don't really fit anything else. It's kind of its own animal. So you're definitely going to be invested in that gun if you choose it. But then again, like I said, if it works for someone, by all means, grab it. I see some guys asking this question. Has anyone shot a Sphinx subcompact? Have y'all ever shot one?
Negative.
The only Sphinx I've shot is yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The Sphinx compact, I have shot it. I'm not a huge fan of it. Not that it's a bad gun. It's just kind of small. And you know, it shot okay. But the SDP is butter for me, and I even like the, you know, the larger alphas. But yeah, if you can get a hold of a Sphinx, I highly recommend them. They're great pistols. Now they're way better with the modern weapon system trigger kit in it and the new sights. The new sights that he has are incredible. I mean, it really way better than the factory sights even. But I put a set of sights on there. I won't say the name, but y'all can go look at them, and they really didn't work for me. It actually, I shot way better with the factory sights, but then I've got a newer video where I shot with the modern weapon sights, and that was a hell of a group. So, you know, I'm super impressed with that pistol. But if anybody's looking for it, and if you can get one, a Sphinx, I would definitely grab one of the Switzerland made, because what I understand is the Swiss version is going away, and they're even nicer than the US version. So if you can grab one, make sure it's a Swiss version. Let's see here. Okay, y'all ready for another question?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Now, when you clean your guns, now I'm not asking about the chemicals that you use, okay? Because I know that we all use, I think we kind of use the same stuff now, or close to it. But do you use a bore snake, or do you use the old patch and rod?
Setting us up for failure there.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that, I don't mean old, but you know, that's a tried and true method. I mean, it works.
I'm all about working hard, working smarter, not harder. So I'm going with the bore snake every time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go in and I'll brush it out, you know, but manually brush it, but then I'll follow it up with a bore snake.
Okay. But you, KS?
Not me. I'm old school. The rod, the brush, the patches, the whole 9 yards, with the exception of the scorpion. I do use the bore snake through that. It's just easier. And I'm not opposed to the bore snake. I've got a couple, but I just, you know, I have a ritual, and it's been that same ritual for, I don't know, 20 years. And so I'm just kind of used to that stuff. Now I've moved on. It's not the old steel rods anymore. In fact, I mean, and you've seen, I've got a pile of, you know, like the Glock rods and CZ rods and that sort of thing. So I use all that stuff, but yeah, it's the same process every time. And I, you know, it's been pretty tried and true for me. So, I'm probably doing it the hard way, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, Mateo, I wish I had a Sphinx 3000. I know he has one, and those guns are awesome. Yeah, and you know, I've come from the old school, and I use the patches and the rods, and you know, I have all that crap too. But since, you know, I've kind of done, I mean, this is a long time ago I did this test, you know, I kind of cleaned it as well as I could. Like they were both the guns I shot at the exact same time, and I shot them about the same amount of ammo through each. And they were both 9mm. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try something. So one I cleaned with this, you know, and I kind of timed it just on the, you know, I didn't do it with a stopwatch, but I just kind of looked at the time I started with that gun. And I did it with the, you know, the patches and the rods and all that stuff. And I cleaned it, and, you know, till the patch was clean. I mean, these were both pretty detailed cleaned. And, you know, I was like, okay, that one's good. And I mean, it took a while. And then I did it with the bore snake, the same cleaner, but with a bore snake. And, you know, I ran a patch through it afterwards to see if the last two patches matched, you know, like if this one was as clean as this one. And they were. And I'll tell you what, the bore snake was much quicker. So, and this was, I don't know what hell, I guess when they first came out. So I've got bore snakes for every freaking caliber imaginable. And I use the hell out of them. I really like them. You know, and I'm not saying they're the best. Don't get me wrong. I know some people say, well, you can be more detailed cleaned or cleaning with, you know, patches, etc. But, you know, I really had a change of heart on that because I used to be that guy. It's only patches and bore snake or only patches and rods. But bore snakes, man, I mean, they really work. You know, if you know, I know they make some, and don't buy them on eBay because there's a knockoff version that you will pull through the gun and the little thing will snap off and then it's stuck in the gun. So don't get those, but you know, get a good reputable brand. And I've never had a problem with them. And I have a ritual where I have to slide it through. It's kind of I don't really have OCD, but it's became that way. So I have to slide it through a certain amount of times. But they work great for me. And I've never had a malfunction, you know, with any of my pistols because of that. So.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to each their own. Whatever you prefer, keep doing it, whichever way works for you.
Yeah, yeah. Vanessa Kitty asked, would a dishwasher melt certain weapons? And I would say, you know, probably more towards polymer than steel. What do you guys think?
I'm not trying it.
Yeah, I'm not trying it. I wouldn't say, well, usually I just throw them in the trunk of my, or the bed of my truck and just drive them through the car wash. That's the easiest way for me. No, I'm joking. But I wouldn't say that it would melt them. But I would say the temperatures of your, you know, like think about it. You've probably put like some of those cheaper Tupperware bowls or something in there and it's distorted the hell out of them. I could see where it could possibly potentially warp it to where you might not get the slide working correctly or something like that. I'm not willing to try it with one of my guns. That wouldn't be anything I would do. But, you know, I guess to each their own. And I do know a guy that actually, after he shoots, he takes his whole gun and puts it in hot dishwater, or like, you know, to where you can put your hand in it. It's not scalding, but he just puts his polymer guns right in the damn dishwash, you know, in the sink with dishwasher fluid or dishwashing fluid. And then he kind of wipes them down and then he details them. That's just what he does. I know. And we've talked.
Yeah.
Because guns, you know, ultimately guns they're porous. So they absorb everything. So they're going to hold some of that moisture. You can't get it all out. Yeah. And I've told him that. He's just like, rah, rah, you know, so I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't put a gun in a dishwasher or a kitchen sink or anything like that. And I know some people do. I've watched videos on people doing it, but man, I'm telling you, to me, and again, I'm a little bit old school, I guess, but there's a reason why there are these specific cleaners. Some are better than others, I think, but solvents and carbon removers and oils and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a reason that we have all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, Mateo, he says he does his in the sink with Dawn also.
Man.
So, and I know a lot of people that do it, you know, and then what they'll do is they'll, you know, wipe it all down and run the cloth through it to get all the moisture out. And then they'll put CLP or lube or whatever on it. So that's what he does. And I can't really say I've ever seen him have a failure, but it's just nothing I would do, you know, but if you do it, hell, do it. Let's see here. Oh, and also for anyone, I don't know if, you know, a lot of people follow on Instagram, but Apex is releasing the FN 509 trigger very, very soon. It says coming soon, and they're actually advertising on Instagram now. So if you have a 509, and I think the FNS 9 is going to come afterwards, but you got a 509, man, that trigger's butter. I felt it at the NRA show, and it's awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a great trigger.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. Yes, and I've used music lovers saying Ballistol, and I still have Ballistol, and I think it's, you know, it's great. Matter of fact, I don't know if anybody knows this, but it really treats leather very, very well, and also knives. You know, a lot of people don't only clean guns with it, but it's actually a leather treatment and knife treatment too. So it's really good stuff. Oh, Bald only buys guns that don't need trigger upgrades. Man, if you've ever seen any of his, you know, Tom and Ed filing and stuff, trigger, he upgrades every damn trigger he has, I think, except his carry guns. Yeah, and actually Taylor's right. Rubbing alcohol will purge water. So he's exactly right on that. Yep. It does. But, and you know, this brings up another question. I want to see what some of the subscribers say. What about cleaning ARs? What do you use to clean, or what do you use to lube your ARs? or some, rifles if you've got heavy duty rifles.
17.
Grease.
A particular kind?
God, I haven't touched anything in a rifle in a while. Trying to think what I had. The last rifle I cleaned was a Ruger, and I'm trying to remember what the hell I used. I think I was using that Battleborn grease because I bought some of that crap, and it worked pretty well. I mean, it's nice and slick, so it works.
What about you?
Although not a huge rifle guy. I mean, the shotguns and such, grizzly grease. Same with 1911s. I actually have gotten to really like that stuff if I'm going the grease route rather than oil route.
Yeah. Well, I'm old school, and the ARs and AKs use red high temp wheel bearing grease. You can actually get a whole jug of it, and I don't use lithium. It has to be red high temp wheel bearing grease. You can get a whole tub of it at Walmart for like $4, and it will last you your lifetime. And I don't just glob it in there, but actually, smear it on, and I've never had a problem with any issues. I mean, it's, hell, it's for high temp wheel bearings. So what better than that? And it doesn't evaporate either. I've pulled the bolt out and it's still on there. So that's what I learned that from an old school AR guy way back in the day, and it's never let me down. So yeah, and you don't get it in the firing pin area. That's true. But okay, let's see. That's really all the questions I have. And heck, I think we've only got like 4 minutes left. Any closing remarks, or have we missed any great questions that we missed?
There may have been a couple of questions that have flown by. If we missed those, guys, sorry. Be sure to save those for next week. But 17, what do you think, man?
I know a lot of people putting in their 2 cents about grease, what they're using, 10W30, Lucas heavy duty gun oil, that kind of stuff.
Mobile one. That's a popular one.
Let's see. Jasper's now saying the Archon Type B is awesome. I hate you. So how many rounds do you have through it? That's what I want to know. How many rounds you got through it so far?
75,000.
Well, he did it. I think he put 250 or 200. He said on Instagram, and his group looked nice.
Yeah. Just keep shooting and let us know how it goes. I want to know.
Jasper's a hell of a shooter, though. I expect that from him.
Dan is saying, which of us will review it first? We all know it's going to be KS. I mean, come on. Who are we kidding?
Shut up.
He's already got one.
I wish I do not, but I wish I did. I would be excited right now, to say the least.
Yeah. All right. We do have a question. Upcoming vids. What do we have upcoming, guys?
Well, I got Holster Month is going to be finishing up in a couple of days, so I got a couple of other new ones that I've been wearing, but I haven't been able to shoot any videos with them because I've been wearing them. So I'll finish off with some new ones, and one of them is actually pretty well, they're actually both are really good, but this other one, man, it's crazy weird how this thing works, but it works really well. I'm going to be doing a couple of videos. I'm going to be pulling that XDS Mod 2 out again, doing a comparison video with that and the original. I may have a 1911 up the sleeve too, which is going to be exciting, because this one I think is what I was looking for initially, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a 1911 guy, but this one is absolutely, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty sweet. And then I have a little one from Rock Island coming too, and it's not a 1911. So it's one of those map series guns, which is kind of interesting. It's like a CZ, EAA Tanfoglio kind of clone. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to get my hands on a rifle that I've been wanting for quite a while. Big J knows what that is. But I have yet to find one that is where I want it to be price-wise. So if I do get one of those, it's going to happen. I'm going to jump on it because it's one that I definitely want. And that's about it. I don't, just other stuff,
What about you, KS?
In the immediate future, I'm not quite sure yet. There's an there are actually a couple of if I could only have ones that I'm thinking about. I still had the TSO video. I've yet to do it. I sat down and started working on it, and ended up having to work on something else instead due to timing. So this week, this weekend might actually be a bye weekend for me. I'm just not sure yet what I can and can't get done. I'm trying not to like go crazy and rush through things anymore. And I'm trying to record and be a week or two ahead. And so I've kind of spent that bank of videos. And I might just relax. I've got some time off, so I'll have a chance to kind of catch up and get ahead again. So nothing in the immediate future, some product videos coming up. I was given a very good idea for an EDC video by 88. So I appreciate that. I might do something like that. I really have never done that. So just a couple of different things. But guys, as always, thank you very much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. You guys are freaking awesome.
Yeah, you are. Guys and ladies. But yes, we do appreciate it very much. And as you all know, I've been doing a lock grip giveaway. I've already given away one set, and I still have a lot more to go. So if you haven't checked out my lock grip video and you want to get involved in it, just do a VR. And I'll be giving away another set, maybe even 2 sets this coming week. So that'll be good. Or maybe even this weekend, we'll see. And I've got this. This is a battle belt, and that is a Shook's custom holster. And that is a Blue Alpha Gear belt, and I'm loving this thing. And I actually took it to the farm and wore it there, took it to the Texas shootout, wore it there. And so this thing has been having a lot of testing. I'm not just doing oh yeah, I wore it one day and it was awesome. I've been testing the heck out of it, and so I've got some stuff to say about it. And I'll be doing the Lancer L30 heavy metal. Really, that's an awesome rifle I've been waiting for a while. So and if you don't follow us on Instagram, please do, because I have put all of this stuff up on Instagram, and a lot of it we don't do videos for a long time, just like KS is saying. So if you want to keep in the loop, hit us all up on Instagram. But we really appreciate all of the ladies and gentlemen being on this evening. It really means a lot to us this Wednesday night. You know, I know you have families and friends and everybody you want to be with, but thanks for spending it with us. So, but next week it will be, what is it? 17, your chat?
Yep.
Okay, 17's channel next Wednesday, 7 o'clock Central, so please tune in. And we appreciate it so much. Thanks, everyone, and carry on.
Thanks, guys.